Okay, let's get back to the phone. 617-830-4750. Last show before the 4th of July break, checking in with people and seeing what is on people's minds. Let's go to our caller from the 502 area code. Caller from 502, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Yes, that's you.
Yes, I'm Paloma, and I'm in Kentucky. Thanks for taking my call. I was just there's this guy on YouTube called Bob TV. He does a lot of progressive
All right, so hold on.
coverage and
You're
everything.
breaking up. You're talking about a YouTuber named what? Bob TV?
Bob TV is the name of the channel.
Okay.
And there was a meme that he was passing along, basically trying to say that Kamala Harris was not subject to segregation because she started going to school after the integration had already came up. It says this little girl was born in 64. She didn't start school till she was 6 in 69. She didn't start riding a bus till 73 when she was 9. And they had not been segregated since 1943. And I tried to do some digging, and I really couldn't find anything really definitive, seeing as how it was like a state-to-state type thing, I guess. And I was wondering if you knew anything in regards to that.
No, I don't. So here, this is a really good example based on what I've been talking about recently regarding not getting overly involved in arguments where once you settle the argument, it doesn't really tell you what you do next. So I guess the argument that's
Right.
being made is based on when, I don't know, Kamala Harris, I believe, is from California, and I guess she went to school somewhere in California when she was a kid. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. So the argument is
Right. That's
that
she
even
said that she
though
had to.
even though there was not a sort of a final endpoint of full desegregation of schools until later on in the 20th century, the argument is that in the particular place where Kamala Harris went to school, there had been desegregation before she started going to school. Therefore, she was not a victim of segregation. That's sort of the argument that you're repeating was made, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. So then the
Yeah.
question is, and so what? What is the argument? Is the idea that Kamala Harris is wrong on policy because she either was or was not at a segregated school? Like, this is why we have to be thinking about it. Number one, I haven't even heard her talk about this. So if she's claiming she went to
Well, I think
segregated schools,
I think the largest argument in that uh, was to show that it was kind of like trying to be an opportunist for a gotcha moment. And
yeah, I mean, this is sort of
allegedly
like, listen, if
she had
you,
planned on.
let me give you an example, Paloma, because I think that this is,
Mm,
if your family left World War II with no money right before you were
mm-hmm,
sent to a concentration camp in 1939 or whatever.
right.
And then you go out and you talk about the Holocaust and you talk about anti-Semitism. Should we say, you technically left right before you would have been sent to the concentration camp and killed. Therefore, you can't talk about this issue. I mean, I just don't understand what do we gain by doing that? And that's why I think it's like, who cares? Is her policy right on these issues, or is it
Right.
wrong? Is she well positioned to take on the interests that are negatively influencing the country? That's what I care about.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one thing that I've been focused on as well is really, from my perspective, the only two truly progressive people right now are Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie, but they both have their problematic pasts that they
Sure.
also have acknowledged. But Kamala Harris, she didn't show any regret. She did not convey any regret in the things that she had done in support of mass incarceration. So that's one of my biggest concerns. Is
Yeah,
how
that's a
can I
problem.
mean she was
I've talked about that before. I have not seen her sort of account for her role there. I take issue with the
right.
idea that Sanders and Gabbard are the most progressive of the Democratic candidates running. Gabbard actually has one of the highest percentages in which she votes with the Trump position on issues in the last Congress. So I've not seen
Oh,
any empirical evidence that she's one of the most progressive. It seems to be, at least on voting for Trump, I believe it's Gillibrand, Bernie, and Warren who least often vote with with Trump. That's just one measure, though. But Paloma,
Yeah.
thank you for the call. I'm going to let you go. I'll look into the Kamala thing, but I just wouldn't even worry about it too much because it's mostly irrelevant.
All right. Thanks again.
And to be clear, I'm not talking about her role in the prison industrial complex. I'm talking about whether or not she, went to a segregated school. Paloma, thank you. Great to hear from you. Appreciate the phone call.